Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict on this fine and delicious evening. We have a lady from the UK in, and she has a story to tell us. Well, not a story, a factual, I need to knock my cap off then. A factual story about the time when she worked for Stephen Greer. Now, we've been chatting on and off for I think near 2 weeks now, week and a bit, and we've shared emails. She's forwarded me lots of information in regards to the job that she was doing to prove the back and forth correspondence with Stephen's company. But before we go into that, I've got a little something special to show you guys. I've been working on a new t-shirt design, and the link is in the description, but check this out. 115, I can fly. That's on the back of the t-shirt, and we have the atomic structure on the front of element 115 with the alien addict head in the center. Booyakasha. Enjoy. I quite like that. I'm quite pleased with it. Better than this old thing. I do like this though, because my best friend got me a long time ago. Went back. This is before the alien changed. This is the plain alien. Now it's got like wrinkles and stuff. But without further ado, let's bring on the guest, Rosanna. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ollie. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And you almost didn't get reply because I thought I was being trolled, because we won't tell you how you found my personal number, but you actually got hold of my personal number, and it was a little bit strange because the only person that I gave that to was Jeremy Corbell, and even though he's a great friend that buys him and Bob t-shirts, I thought he's trying to push a story here, and I thought that he'd give you.
I remember.
You, Rosanna, he'd give you my number, and I was a little bit.
That was funny.
How did you get my number?
That was funny.
But now that it's even funnier now that you've told me how you actually got the number.
Yes.
But
it's good that I got your number, actually, then, isn't it?
It is. Definitely. And just please don't, you'll scare me. If anybody else has my number, just choose not to message me, because I nearly had a heart attack and it was 11 o'clock at night. I'm thinking, what's going on here? This is the Men in Black.
You did say that. It was funny.
So let's by the way, people, Rosanna Rosanna's not your real name. No. Her real name is Craig David. Let's yeah. and I'm proper Bo. In all seriousness, though, you do have a story to tell, and a little bit. There's some concerns, and we are going to go into that. But can you just start us off, Rosanna, when this job offer came and how it came from working for Dr. Greer?
Sure.
How did it actually happen?
Well, my interest, like a lot of people who are interested in UFOs and paranormal, Stephen Greer was one of those chaps that was just out there. I mean, he was there and you couldn't miss him. So I began to watch his stuff, Disclosure and everything, and stumbled across his Atacama skeleton conference that he put out about 8 years ago. And that sparked my interest. So I researched the Atacama skeleton and thought, wow, this is so interesting. And Dr. Greer, he's a fabulous speaker. He's he's quite flamboyant, and you easily believe what he tells you. Plus the fact he advertises that he's not just an MD, but he's he looks after people who've been blown up in cars and this. So it's all very flamboyant. But hey, you fall for it. I fell for it. I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm just saying that's how easy it is to believe Dr. Greer. So anyway, I just happened to be on his disclosure website, and I think this was 3 years ago now. I think, and don't hold me to this, but I think I saw an advert where he was looking for researchers to work on the disclosure project, and I thought, wow, I mean, I'm good at research. I'll respond to this.
Well, just for the audience, I hope you don't mind me saying this. You're an ex-lawyer.
Yes, I've got an honours degree in law. Practiced for a while, albeit as a paralegal because I couldn't go the whole shebang because of family issues. But yeah, that's what I did for a while. So, and medical negligence actually. So, I thought, but if you have a law degree, you do have by nature really good research skills by the end of it, because that's what law's all about, research. So anyway, I got an answer pretty swiftly actually from a lawyer who was working pro bono on Dr. Greer's research team. Now, when I received the email, straight away I saw that copied into the email was Emily Greer, Dr. Greer's wife, of course. So it was this gentleman and Emily Greer that recruited me. So that's how it came about, Ollie. That's how it started. And then, of course, there was a online recruitment process. They had to vet me. I had to show my qualifications, even where I'd studied. I mean, it was, it wasn't like, oh yeah, we'll just trust you. They went into a lot of things about me.
Was this pro bono with yourself as
Yes,
well? Yes.
There was no paid work. So I was working full time, and I had heavy commitments at the time. And I thought, well, can I fit this in? I thought, yeah, I can fit this in it because it's something that interested me. Paranormal, ufology, all that sort of things always interested me. I thought this would be a great opportunity just to enlighten me as well, not just to help the team, but I would gain something from it as well because I'd find it really interesting. So that's how it all began, and that's how I got involved with the team.
And what was your mission? What did you have to do for Stephen?
Well, initially initially when I first replied, they weren't aware until the vetting got more intense that I was based in the UK, which was quite beneficial for them because Stephen by then was working on the Atacama skeleton, and he was it with Gary Nolan?
Gary Nolan.
Yeah.
Is it the
Stanford University
yes.
chap? Yeah. And he was, desperately trying through research to ascertain whether it was humanoid or whether it was alien. And I think what he was wanting was for more geneticists to come on board. And one of the geneticists that he was particularly interested in at the time was a Professor Sykes, who was based at, he thought, at Oxford University. And he wanted me to contact Dr. Sykes, explain the project, and meet with him, try and get him on board the team. I mean, they were quite confident actually that I think that Dr. Sykes would be interested. But it wasn't that straightforward because he wasn't at Oxford University. And it took me a couple of weeks to track this gentleman down. I mean, it's all via telephone, but then your investigative skills kick in. And but I did manage to pin Dr. Sykes down in the end. There was other things I was asked to do, was forward various research articles, periodicals, magazines, And I thought, why don't they just go online for these things? I didn't understand why they were asking me to personally forward these materials, because when you could access that information online.
Yeah, they wanted. You mentioned in one of the earlier messages to me that they wanted you to look into the press and what was going out in the press about uh, the serious the serious disclosure. I can't say the word Anacana, whatever it is.
Atacama skeleton, yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
I think, looking back, it didn't click, first of all. I think looking back, the reason they were investigating British journalism and the freedom of the press over here and Ofcom regulations, I think is because the doctrine of fairness in the United States regarding media publications and broadcasting was abolished in the Reagan era.
Right.
And the doctrine of fairness meant that in areas of controversy, it was okay to broadcast no matter what media we're using, as long as your broadcast was just equitable and fair. But that was abolished. So if you had a controversial issue, you would find it very hard to get it out there to certain media platforms. And that was replaced, I think, by the doctrine, a timing doctrine, where two sides have to have the same amount of time to put their argument forward. So I think the plan may have been, I may be wrong on this, but to come to the United Kingdom.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To come to the United Kingdom and then broadcast his platform from here. I think he was hoping that our Ofcom regulations would slightly more casual and allow him to do more work here.
Interesting. So for the audience, did you actually track down the professor?
Yes, I did. I sent him I sent him an email. I introduced myself, I was very polite, explained the research that Dr. Greer was doing, and I think I forwarded you the response, Ollie.
Yes, you did. Yeah, like I said, it was just for the audience.
It was very brief, to say the least, and really, really to the point. After reading that, I thought, well, there's absolutely no chance this Professor Sykes is going to work with Dr. Greer. And I was almost.
What did he say? He said something about Bigfoot.
Yes, he says, I can't, or something along the lines, I can't be doing this kind of science tell Bigfoot something to. It was. I was almost scared to send the response back to the United States. That's how insulting it was. Yeah. So that was that. So, but the nice part was the chap that did recruit me with Emily Greer. He was a lawyer, is also a professor. I think he was a civil rights lawyer and a professor in a university, taught. But he was quite prominent. And we became friends, even though we'd never met. We emailed each other regularly, all the time. And we had the same views of things, and we talk about law, but he was also very interested in other things. He was interested in the paranormal, ufology, and we did spark up a really good relationship. Unfortunately, sorry.
This is Will that we're talking about, who the concern is about.
Yes.
Now, am I right by saying that Will is the person that initially interviewed you? Yeah, so it got you on board. That he was the spokesperson for Dr.
Emily Greer and Dr. Greer. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he told we the emails. They moved on, and they became rather like friends would speak. All this, the veil came down, and we became friends. And then nothing. Just never heard from him again. I sent email after email after email.
How long was this after you stopped working for Steve?
No, we were still working. I mean, we hadn't ended. We were still recruited to be researchers. But by that time, because I couldn't get in contact with Will, I mean, he was the person providing me with the questions to go forth and do the research.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is he did become quite critical of Dr. Greer as the months progressed in the emails, and but yeah, I don't know. He just vanished into thin air, into the ethers of the internet. And he was the type of man, I know, he was extremely polite. He was just a lovely man. He wouldn't, even if you'd upset him, he would have the manners to say, look, I don't think this is going to work now. Maybe we should part at this, but nothing. He just disappeared. And I never, I never got to, I mean, I've sent email after email. Will, even if you don't want to speak to me, please let me know you're fine. Please let me know you're okay.
Are we allowed to use his full name on it? I mean, I don't know if you want in his name, actually his full name being out there in case but I suppose if he may know who you are.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, if he saw this, he would know who I am, obviously.
I can verify for the audience that if somebody thinks that this is something, I've seen the back and forth emails, I've had them actually forwarded to me. Did you mention that he'd got into an argument with Stephen?
Right. So I think it was just after we were speaking. Was it the end of last week, Ollie? I decided to email Emily Greer, which is something I've not done before, because my interest in all of this was not to meet Dr. Greer. It wasn't to meet Emily Greer, even though I had her email address. My interest was just in the subject. But then I thought, no, I'm going to. So I I emailed Emily Greer last Friday, I believe, which I forwarded to you.
Yeah.
And I did say, look, this is who I am. I'm looking for Will, such a body. And then this was in 2018 when we got recruited. And she said, oh, yeah, I remember him. Yeah, he did some pro bono work for us. If you see him, she didn't even bother to read the question, because I was asking her, had she heard from him and is he okay? Then she replied to me, if you see him, if you speak to him, tell him, I'm sorry if he's not well. So it didn't, the email just did not make sense. But prior to that, prior to reaching out to Emily, I'd also contacted Dr. Greer's team on numerous times, just begging for some help to try and find this gentleman. You're part of Greer's team. And they were almost rude. And then Emily Greer, when I emailed her last week, apologised for the Greer team being rude.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So, and then I emailed her back and said, look, I said, I'm concerned about this man. I said, he worked for you. Are you not concerned for somebody that more or less saying provided a service for you? It's pro bono. I didn't say that. But surely at some humanistic part of you would say, hey, this man worked for us, But she did reply, and she did say that her and Stephen, that Will and Stephen had a discussion, and they disagreed on. Did you see, Ollie? They disagreed on certain things and agreed on others. And then she put at the bottom. It's been a long time now, so best not talk about this anymore. Something to that effect. Very unhelpful. Very unhelpful.
What was it that they disagreed on?
She didn't say, did she, in the email? She didn't say. She just said that
Did you get any inklings though from Will when you had your correspondence beforehand that there was something?
Yeah, he started to be quite disparaging. He was quite disappointed in Dr. Greer. And he began to discuss for me about the amounts of money he was charging for his conferences and these C5 projects and that sort of thing. And I'm one of those that was daft enough to buy the app for C5, I must admit. But yeah, I did get. I got that. Yeah, he was very disappointed in Dr. Greer.
So he's has had his pro bono work stopped, and you and him were just.
I don't know, Ollie. That's just it, because Will just vanished, and there was no talk of the work stopping. It's just that Will, who sent me tasks to do from England, he was no longer contactable.
And so through this time, so I take it this was before the documentary got released when you first got in touch with Will.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
long after the documentary?
2018, Will and I started working on the disclosure on the Atacama skeleton, and I think it was 2020 when I last had contact. No, end of 2019, because I've got an email in 2020 where I'm begging him to email me back to see whether he, the end of 20, if he was okay, but still nothing. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I'm like, when you initially got contact with me, you said you were concerned about this person. I said, well, Stephen has said in some of his documentaries that people have gone missing. I mean, I could just be a guy that maybe has just gone, off the radar, and
he could have died. I mean, he could have died. Hope to God, and that's what I wanted to find out. Has anything happened to him? But I just thought my big thing is that they hired this man, and this man did some pro bono work for them. I've asked Emily Greer to at least take 10 minutes out of her time to try and contact this man, and she cannot be bothered.
Because all you've got is an email back and forth. That's
yeah.
all you.
Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't have taken her 5 minutes to find out if this gentleman was dead or alive. She could have asked Stephen Greer. But what did she say? It's a long time ago. Best not talk about this anymore in the email, if you read it. I know you did. So, yeah, the intimation was they'd had a fallout, and let's not talk about this anymore because it's been a long time. And more or less, go away.
When you were doing the work for Stephen and you and Will was back and forth with the conversations, when you were speaking about did you ever speak about the little fetus alien? And in between private conversations, were you both a believer that this was alien?
We didn't know, because I'm scientifically minded, so I just wanted the proof. This is why I wanted to join into the research, because I didn't know. I just wanted to see the final outcome. And we all know now that it's got 64 genetic mutations. It's humanoid. So.
Yeah, well, it was a funny one, that, because I did a video a long time ago. I think I may have forwarded you the video.
Yeah, you did.
Where I was actually where Steve, and I spoke about this a few times, so people are probably getting bored of it, but where Stephen's speaking about Gary Nolan taking the research to TTSA.
Yeah.
And that is when it got released that it was, in fact, just a fetus with so many genetic problems with it.
Yeah.
But liking Stephen Greer and his wife or not, it is strange to me that, because I've just watched it. I've just watched Sirius again. I haven't watched it for years. I've just watched it again. And Gary Nolan, when he's working on that, he's almost like convinced that this is something.
Yeah.
And
they initially did say that it should. I mean, the results came out rather quickly, didn't they? Because they initially said it could take, I was like, donkey's years. Yeah. I mean, I accept what you say, and accept, that, the results could be wrong. It could be, a cover up, but those are the official results, aren't they?
But you think that Greer just spun a story and he wanted to make a documentary? Is that your take on it? You just think the guy's out to make as much money as possible?
Yeah, I think so.
But
definitely.
What inspired you? But you were not. Were you not inspired in the first place to work for him through?
Because at that time, I believe mostly, like most people at that time, did most of everything that came out of his mouth. and because he is compelling to listen to.
He's a very good talker.
Yeah, very good talker, and his qualifications are excellent, aren't they? You know, not many people mistrust a doctor, especially an emergency doctor, you know, who works in A&E, looking after such traumatized patients, who, you know, stabbings, motor car accidents, as he tells us. You know, it's got a great portfolio.
But you just think that this, now you don't have any trust whatsoever.
No, right. Another thing is, um, the money that I mean, I think you've spoken about this. Rich Giordano's spoken about. It's obscene the amount of money he charges for these seminars. He's excluding many contactees or supposed contactees from ever joining these seminars because they can't afford to go. There's thousands of witnesses to UFOs across the, you know.
With all
But
due respect, Rosanna, the aliens only visit the rich. You know, they're
precisely,
only
I forgot about that one.
they're only interested
Precisely.
in the bling.
Yeah. Now, something that really sickened me as well, not about Dr. Greer, but I mean, I've always been interested in ufology, psychic, paranormal, and that sort of thing. So I went on the CE5 app, and you know, you've got that. Have you seen it, Ollie? The CE5 app. You put it on your
No,
phone. Oh
no, I
gosh.
haven't. I haven't.
Well, you get a tracking device.
I should do. I should do. You should like research. I should have it, really,
You
shouldn't I?
should. Well, you get a little tracking device with it, and you can contact other people in your local area who are interested, who's also got the CE5, and you can set up your little group to go out with your app, because it plays some lovely music as well while you're trying to contact UFOs. So this is what I thought, well, we'll try this. I'll try anything once. And I joined a little group, and it was headed by this lady who was, she called herself a healer, some kind of empathic healer or something. And I just happened to one night send one of the members of the group a normal message about me. And she said, we're not having that sort of thing in this group. We don't talk about normal things. We are here to contact the aliens, and we're going to keep our vibration on that plane. And it turns out, yeah. So it turns out that this woman was charging a phenomenal amount of money to visit her online, also clinics for healing. You know,
So she was making money through the
she was already,
C5 app as well.
yes,
So
she was. No,
that's interesting.
what she was already making money anyway. Look, I believe that whatever skill you've got, you give it freely. Like if you see somebody homeless, I will always give something on the street. I'm not here to make money, but some people are. That's all they care about, money. But how can you call yourself an empath or a healer or whatever if you're charging phenomenal amounts to share your skills and your vibration, or so to speak? So she was already doing that for a living. And then she came into the CE5, and I think she was using that to try and enhance her skills to make money. And that's the kind of people you meet. And it's just not for me. Just not for me. Plus, it doesn't work. Like Rich Giordano says, it just doesn't work. It's crazy. So what do you get for your money? You get this app. It gives you a bit of music that you can play in the field. So you've got that on the recording. You've got your little tracker to visit someone else. That's it. Something to read. That's your app.
Sounds a bit like Pokemon Go.
It's, yeah. It's very interactive. But if you go on it now, nobody's bothered. You know, it's dead. Nobody wants to set up one.
So with and Will, if you are watching this, my email's there. If you email, I will pass it on to Rosanna. It's not Rosanna. Will. You mentioned that. I need to tread carefully with this, but Will wasn't well.
He wasn't well. No. And of course, that's why I was so worried. Has he died? Just, and I think the Greer organisation would know that.
Yeah. So with this, I think your disappointment is that the lack of humanity
Yes.
when it
Uh,
comes to
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So you're
Complete lack.
angry. You are angry.
I am. Yeah, because these are multimillionaires and they're getting their information free from people that entrusted them, that trusted them, that thought they were doing some good work, and it's just not the case, is it?
How many others do you know of that will work? I mean, did Will employ quite a few other people, or was it
No, he
just
did.
yourself?
I've no idea, Ollie. So it wasn't
I'm just
hard to enrol me. I can tell you because I was eager to join the team based upon Stephen Greer's reputation.
I'm just wondering how many people work for free for
That's
Stephen.
what I'm saying. Yeah, I suppose I wouldn't like to speculate, but like I said, I was easily taken on board. I mean, not easily taken on board as that I wasn't vetted, but I was eager to work for him for free.
Mm, I just it puts a funny taste in my mouth. People working for somebody for free when it involves that kind of subject
Yeah,
of aliens.
yeah,
If it's working for free for cancer patients, or you know, um, a case where somebody just can't afford to pay the money, and they might be going down for murder when they're blatantly innocent or whatever. I can agree with it, but working for free,
yeah.
um I mean, I
But I mean,
get it. I get it. If
he's done all those GoFundMe things, though, hasn't he? I mean, that was purely for education, wasn't it? But Carl Richards got off those GoFundMe things.
Yeah, but this is the thing, and this is the thing that the rich do. That's why they're rich.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I need to take a leaf out of somebody's book.
Saying that, I know some rich people that are awesome. You know,
Yeah,
he said, so they're not all like that. But I, I did, you will have seen it on my channel of over the last year. I gained a huge amount of respect for Stephen Greer when he came out, and he
yeah,
was, going against the grain on this bullshit
yeah.
that is them being a threat. So there is that. Do you think there's nothing in that man that is in it for good?
And we were talking, when we've been talking, I'd like to believe him because I want to believe there's no threat. But do you believe, Ollie, that he truly, truly speaks to aliens when he does these CE5 events? Because he claims to be in contact with them, doesn't he?
Do I bollocks? No.
So how does he know they're not a threat?
I think that Stephen Greer has had encounters? Quite possibly. Do I think he maybe knows some shit? Yes. But is he submarine aliens? I don't. I don't think that. Unless Stephen flies me over, And Steve, if you're watching this now, you can fly me over. I will stay in your what do they call it? That house that's in the garden, in
The
the house,
gazebo.
the
No, not the
gazebo. I'll,
gazebo.
I'll stay. No, it's no
It's the summer
outhouse.
house. The
So
summer house.
I'll stay in your summer house. I will stay in your summer house as long as it's got a fridge with some beers in it. I will stay in that summer house, and he could
The other
take he could take me out. And if I see it with my own eyes, and I don't think he's got some guy with a yacht to shoot some flares up in the air, then I'll sing his praises. But until then, I don't know.
and what about like when you listen to him? Everybody's got to go into this trance meditation state to be able to do something. I've never had to go into a trance meditation state to be able to astral travel. And I can astral travel. I don't particularly have to go into some trance meditational state. You either have a gift or you've had it since birth, but I don't think you can learn it. I think it's innate. And I
Speaking
think
of astral spirit, you've opened up Pandora's box there. You do realize that my friend Rich that is saying my beard is looking epic. He's getting. I need to. Thanks, Rich. I just saw the epic and his lovely bald head. I love him. Such a beautiful man. He's got a very smooth face. Have you ever seen Rich on the show? Rich has done the. He went to the. And I think he's going to kill me for Monroe Institute.
Oh yes, I saw that. It was really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about astral projection, he's the man to speak to because he's trained in it. So you've before we get into that, because I do want to get back into the Greer thing, but take me back, take us all way back. When did Rosanna first get into this subject? How old were you?
Well, this is my baseline, which I call my baseline. I remember when I was 5 having my first existentialist thought. I remember lying in bed trying to think what I was 5, and I knew I was 5 because of where we lived at the time, and we only stayed a year there. What does nothing look like? I was thinking as a 5-year-old, and I thought, well, it's black. Well, then no, it can't be enough. That's because black's a colour. That's not nothing. So I could never, as a 5-year-old, grasp what nothing was, even as much as I tried. Of course, I'd never grasp it. That thought stayed with me for years. It haunted me why people can't grasp what nothing is until I realised. I worked it out for myself not long ago, actually, quite a few years ago, that humans find it so difficult to imagine what nothingness is. It's because we're turned on. Imagine we were robots and we were turned on. You'd have to be turned off because that's what nothing in it is. So for me, nothingness is death. This is pure consciousness, and your pure consciousness. No, I believe in God.
Okay. So it's weird that you use the term nothingness, because that's what I use as well. Nothingness.
Yeah.
Can you imagine nothing? If I'm talking about death.
Yeah.
So you're 5 years old and you're thinking about nothingness. Were you thinking about death?
No, I was trying to. So that's the type of child I was. I remember my cousin always used to, because she used to babysit me, that I was a very strange child. I mean, she loved me dearly. She was great, but she said I was a strange child. So I was just I was quiet, and I was a deep thinker from being very young, but happy, but a deep thinker. So,
so that's 5 Strokes of Wonder. Scotland, beautiful man, and it is a beautiful, cool aubergine. No, it's I don't know what it is. It's some sort of fruit. Thank you for the $2. Sorry. I had to say thank you then. So 5 years old, you're thinking about nothingness, and you go on, carry on the story.
And then I'm at the age where there was which terrified me and intrigued me so much. I was only young again. Don't know if you won't remember, Ollie. There was an American program called The Invaders. You've got to watch that. It's so retro, but it was so scary. And it was real Men in Black. It was on every week, and it was scary. It's about UFOs and Men in Black coming to Earth, and it was really well done. That sparked my interest initially. So from a very young age, I've been interested in UFOs, astronomy, but I don't know much about astronomy. But the Earth in general, I'm watching live now the volcanic eruption in Las Palmas. Things like that really, like I said, I don't watch TV. Usually got to be scientific and spiritual. And I've had many experiences throughout my life. I mean, I hate that word paranormal because for me it's just normal. I think we should use another term for paranormal. It makes it sound like you're a bit odd. But I think there's millions of people all over the world with the same experiences as myself who just don't have the courage, or they think they've got something to lose if they talk about it. So that's why I don't think it's paranormal. I just think it's more normal than we think, and people just won't talk about it.
So have you experienced anything alien or UFO related?
Right. Rich Giordano, which I love his show. It speaks a lot of sense.
He does.
He does. He hit a chord for me the other night because he says that sometimes he wakes up in his apartment, doesn't think it's his. That's never happened to me, but I do not frequently. Every few months or so, I will wake up absolutely convinced that where the hell did I just go? Not, it's a physical feeling. It's not a mental feeling. You can't remember anything, but you feel you've been somewhere. But I can't prove that. I can't prove that. I feel I could just be saying that. But I will say the most profound experience for me happened to me whilst I was awake, and my daughter witnessed because I have two children, a daughter and a son.
When was this?
This was in the 80s, actually. I was getting ready for work. It was a sunny day. I was near the window and I was just putting my clothes on, and my daughter was on the bed and she was chatting to me like she normally did.
How old was your daughter at the time?
My daughter was about 8 at the time, and we were chatting. And this is the craziest I've never experienced anything like it. It wasn't like an electric shock. It was a shift. It was just a complete shift in my whole. I can't even explain it, Ollie. But I went somewhere else, and I was in a flash on top of a mountain. It was red hot, and it was red everywhere. It looked like Arizona or something like that. Everything was red. I was on top of the mountain, distressed, and I saw above me all these lights just all up above me, and I was crying, "Why have you left me here? Why have you left me here?" And this one light came down and moved towards my belly, and just before it entered my belly, I came back to where I was I screamed as I came back because it was such a profound experience. I don't even remember seeing my daughter because I think I ran straight downstairs because my mum was downstairs at the time, and I was just in a state because I couldn't understand what had just happened to me.
So what did your daughter say? How that she remember?
We,
Does
st-
she
we don't.
remember anything from that?
She remembers me. Screaming, not screaming, shouting at the end of it. But she didn't see anything. I don't. But it's funny. We were only talking about this about 5 weeks ago. Do you remember what like you talked years back? She does remember it. Yeah, but I didn't have the time to. I must have frightened her, but I was so traumatized by it, I couldn't console her at the time. Does that make sense? So,
So you were on top of a mountain,
yeah,
and it was when you say red like Arizona, are we talking like just
I could
like
feel the heat,
so it's
blazing
red?
sun. Yeah, blazing sun, and like the desert, But I was really high up on the mountain, and it was red. And like I said, there were lights above me, and I was so upset that I'd been put on that mountain.
You were upset.
Very upset. And I was asking them, "Why have you left me here?" And I only got consoled when the light came towards me. But I was fully awake.
So hang about here. So 1 minute you're in your room, you're getting ready. Where were you going? Were you going
I
out?
was going to work. I was going to work.
So you'd not been drinking?
No, I don't
Nothing like
drink
that?
no, not in the day. Definitely not. Never
No,
have.
no, I have to ask that.
Yeah, I know.
Because 1
No
minute you're on a
drugs,
mountain.
professional, clean living.
So when you're on that mountain, what did you have the knowledge of you back at home?
No, no. I was just swapped. I was just like I've been swapped. I wasn't crying because I'd left my home. I was crying because I'd been put on top of this mountain. I was crying because they'd left me.
Jesus. So you had did you have any knowledge of your daughter?
No, nothing. There was. It was a complete shift of
So you were
reality.
you?
No, it was a complete shift of reality. I was like I'd been transported somewhere else, experienced that for a few minutes, and then came back. So it was me, but it wasn't me. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So this is so you. Is it? Would you say that it was like you projected yourself there, or
No,
was it like you were physically there?
it was an energy that went right through me, physical, because it was it's like somebody had put a ray gun through you and you went somewhere else, but you didn't go somewhere else. It's just that you were living some other experience. But I'm wide awake,
So, Ginger
and it's not
Steve,
a memory.
I've just glitched. Do you believe in simulation theory?
I don't know what that is.
So that this isn't real. That
Oh
that
yeah, I
that
don't. It disturbs me that though that theory.
that you could not be real, because that would explain a glitch that is
Would
all of
it?
a sudden, yeah, you're kind of like the program you've
Oh
skipped
wow, yeah.
into a different. Did you say you saw something above your head?
It was the lights were all flying around me at the top in the sky. So
What did the
there
lights
were
look like?
orbs. They were just orbs, like flying orbs everywhere. Like Greer says, are UFOs in the sky? Those kind of orbs. And so I knew I'd come from the orbs, but I was upset that they put me on the mountain. But the funny thing was, when I came back, because I had that orb, I was wonder if I'm going to get pregnant, or because the orb came to my belly. But it's weird things you think about when something really like that happens to you that you can't explain. No one will ever explain that.
So, how long did it seem like you were on this mountain for?
Long enough for the orb to come from the sky, and it was traveling. I don't know. I can't even estimate miles. I didn't even think about that. But for it to come down and enter my body, and then I was back. That's it. Wasn't But for me, it was like maybe I'll use the word glitch. Then it was a like that. But
It
even
was
though it was instant, but I had enough time to follow something down. So that may have taken, in that memory that I had of that altered reality or whatever it was, it may have taken 10 minutes.
But your 8-year-old saw your reaction to what happened.
Yes, that's all she saw, she said. Yeah, I've had no episodes since then. I don't have epileptic seizures. Got no
Do you
history of.
do you ever see? Have you ever seen ghosts or anything that could?
I've felt ghosts. I've not seen one. I've felt one come through me. Well, a few come through. I've never seen one, but I've seen. This kitchen is beside me here. There are times when it's usually about 2 a.m. or maybe 12. It varies. This massive flash will come into the kitchen. It's not next door is facing me, and when they put the kitchen light on, you can see those flashes, can't you? When lights reflect into somebody's house, but
Yeah.
this is a flash that is just it's immense of the light, and it goes off straight away. I've got used to that over the years. But last year, and so I think it was Rich Giordano's show. It was in the winter of last year. My daughter was sat where I am now, and I said, "Oh my God, we saw the flash." It was earlier on than in the morning, and I said, "Come and see what's in the garden." And there were orbs in the garden, and I think I've mentioned this on Richie's show, in the chats. But yeah,
What do you
they
mean?
were in the
What
garden,
you mean?
but
Like
they're
little
big.
little? Is this in the evening?
Yeah, these were just a bit smaller than a football. Orbs. There was two of them just going through the grass at the back of the garden. It's a long garden.
Would balls of light
Yeah, balls of light and perfect spheres. Yeah,
just moving across the? With it, was there anything coming off them? Like,
no, they're just normal, and just I just normal spheres, and it wasn't. I mean, it could have been electric. They say that, what do they call them? Those balls of lightning.
ball lightning, bolt lightning.
Could it be ball lightning? Who knows? I mean, I'm saying it
I would
probably
love to
isn't.
see that. I'd love it.
Yeah,
But,
I've
but
just seen that the ones.
how would you know it was ball lightning or
Yeah, you don't, do you?
a little
No.
green fucker in a giant ball in the garden glowing?
Yeah, yeah.
Pardon my French, but you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. So my daughter, she was sat here, but they're used. I mean, my daughter's and my son are used to these events happening around all our lives. To be honest, I bought this house that I'm in now, and I left behind my previous house and everything in it. And all I brought here was a couch and the beds. Because we had such severe poltergeist activity in the last house, so I wouldn't bring anything to this house. Severe poltergeist activity, and I couldn't. I mean, I could sit here forever, Ollie, telling you what's happened. It's happened to me all my life, and it's a norm. Like I say, it's not paranormal. It's normal for some people to have these experiences. It
So
doesn't make you special.
the last house you lived in,
Yeah,
there was a poltergeist in it.
yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah,
How
awful.
many
It was
years ago was
awful.
that?
I've been here 20 years now, and this house is brilliant. There's nothing negative here, but the other house wasn't good at all. Yeah.
What? So how old were you when you last lived in the other house?
Well, I had a small boy and a teenager. My daughter was a teenager then in the house. So, and my son, I think, was 7. But it was terrifying in that house.
What
Yeah.
happened? How long were you in the house for? How long were you in that
5
house for?
years in the house. 5 years. Stood that house for 5 years. Um, all sorts. I mean, you could be sat downstairs and the baby would be in bed and the baby gate would rattle at the top of the stairs. You would hear cracks of like energy just in front of you while you were sat talking to your neighbour, and you couldn't see, but just like
Well,
like fireworks going off.
Like high end static.
Yeah, like you pulled a cracker, but in front of you, and it's energy. And then one particular everybody. Oh God, when my mum died, that was worse. We saw that high energy, and we were sat here. My friend was over on the right hand side of me on the couch, and I saw was like these black beads come through the wall, and there was nothing there. It was awful. And then I can't even go on to tell you anymore because I'm going to sound like a wacko if I went on. Honestly, that house was awful.
Listen, you're on a channel called Alien Addict, where people that watch it that like aliens and like UFOs. So you're quite at home here. And if it's any
Yeah.
consolation, apparently I've seen a white lady when I was little.
Have you
Yeah. And my mum saw her.
really? Yeah,
I
they do
have
exist.
I have no recollection of that. I think I was about 5 years old.
Was it? Yeah. Did it seem real, or is it a mist?
I've no idea. I can't remember it. I
Oh,
can't.
so you just said yeah.
I used to go into my mum's room apparently and tell her every night that there was a white lady in my room. My dad was in
Wow.
my dad was away at sea in the merchant navy, and I used to tell my mum all the time there's a white lady in my room. One night, my mum saw the white lady at the bottom of the bed. The next day, she had a miscarriage.
Oh my gosh.
Very
Oh wow,
strange.
wow.
So my mum's not a liar
I
either.
think that
So
white lady came. No, I don't. I don't think that. I think that white lady came to help the baby cross over.
maybe.
Mm.
S- So this house, when you say poltergeist, so did it chuck things as well?
Yeah, it was the bangs. Not so much chucking things like you see on the TV, like the cupboards opening and everything. My daughter would go to bed at night and she'd scream and she'd say that there'd be an old man's face in front of her. But now I knew this before. I moved in there, not through choice. I moved there through circumstance. But I knew before I went into the house that my partner's uncle had committed suicide in that house.
Oh,
So it wasn't a good house to be in anyway. So yeah, so that was a terrible house. Yeah.
so is that why you moved from it?
And like I said, I didn't. The only thing I brought were my essentials, like the bed, couch, and then I had to save up for the rest of the things that I needed in the house. Yeah, but it was worth it because this house is lovely now.
So it's interesting to me that you've had this experience, which is probably more paranormal, normal, should I say? Sorry, all your life, and
Yeah,
then you went, you saw a an experience or an opportunity to have an experience, which was a job, but it was pro
yeah,
bono with Stephen Greer,
yeah.
and that's essentially alien. You know, it's extraterrestrial. So, where are your thoughts when it comes to the subject? Because you said you're religious.
I am, and I do pray. Can I just say one thing before I answer that, Ollie? What I forgot to mention, which is very, very important. After the incident where I was in the bedroom and I went through that shift, I started reading. I started to research what is it, and then I came across, because there was no internet then. I came across a book by Jenny Randalls. She was a physics lecturer at Manchester University, but she was also interested in UFOs. She's written loads of books, and then if you look her up, they're really interesting books. Jenny Randalls, and she came with me. She came to my house with the policeman who was investigating. You remember the policeman who saw the UFO in Yorkshire? That
I
UFO
think
case.
I know the one. Have they made a recreation of it as
I
well?
think so, but he was with her because they had made up a team and they came to my house. So she was very interested from a physics point of view as well. What happened to me, and she was really helpful. And that she put me in contact with Linda Jones. She lives in Didsbury in Manchester, and she's quite a famous UFO query abductee. She lives in Didsbury. She's been all over the TV in the 80s, and we're still friends now. So, some positives came out of it, but yeah, I didn't just leave it and think, gosh, I did try to get some answers for myself.
So, so where is your head when it comes to this subject now? Because so you've gone to work for essentially Dr. Greer, back in 2018,
Yeah,
and you've doing research for him for the little Anacana
yeah.
alien, but you've seen poltergeists, you've had paranormal experiences, so
Psychic, naturally
psychic
psychic since
experience,
child. Yeah.
out of body experiences. So where is your head when it comes to this subject? What do you think it is? Do you
Well,
think
obviously believe in aliens. That's just goes for me. I've always believed in aliens. But you see, I don't think it. I'm a great believer in God and Jesus, but I don't. But innately, I'm a believer in just trying to be nice to people and being good, and it doesn't necessarily mean my grandmother was a witness to the Angel of Mons in the is it the First World War? Now she was born in 1898, and she was very religious. So when she witnessed the Angel of Mons appeared to the soldiers. Do you remember this?
no?
Well, she witnessed that, and when she witnessed, it was the Angel of Mons was the Virgin Mary appearing to the troops. You can research it, and
Oh,
she was
I think I have heard of this.
yeah, she was teetotal, so she ran to the church, and the priest accused her of drinking. She couldn't possibly have witnessed it, being a normal, working class woman. Who are you to witness the Virgin Mary? So she stopped going to church then, and she's been the biggest inspiration of my life. I loved her more than anything, and she taught me, she was very spiritual, but she believed in God, but she also was very psychic, and I think it runs in families as well. Definitely. I mean, they say abductions run in families, generational, isn't it? But I think if you're psychic, you're born with it, and I don't. Most of all, you can't learn these things. I don't think.
How do you fathom though? God, Jesus, and little green men?
I do, because I'm also interested in. I mean, look at all the structures that from thousands of years ago. How have they been molded into the rocks that they find? So we do know that there's strong proof that there is ancient
Oh
civilizations
yeah,
at
no,
some point.
no,
We know that.
yeah, and don't take this the
Yeah,
wrong way. What I'm saying to you is, and for many a years I've been an atheist
yeah,
completely. Yeah,
okay,
until probably the last 5 years, maybe just before 5 years, my first little boy, and now weird things happen in my life that
really,
I've got no explanation for. It's not aliens or anything like that, but it's just weird little, let's call them glitches, Ginger
yeah,
Steve. But yeah, little things happen to me that I just kind of laugh at now, and I think it's like somebody's playing a joke on me. Okay,
yeah,
but in your head, and this is what I find fascinating. Somebody who's very religious, and I know a few people that are very religious, and they also study the subject of
yeah.
ufology. Why?
I can't outrule that Jesus was a psychic, and I can't. I mean, from another planet. I can't outrule that. But it doesn't change history. It doesn't change the fact that it doesn't matter where he's from, does it? But I know he existed.
So, are you saying that maybe that Jesus, God, is it in a sense like a bit like that film Prometheus? They are the creator
Yeah,
and
I
possibly
do.
not magical.
It could, Jesus could be an alien, couldn't he? That's how I feel. But it doesn't matter to me whether he's alien or whether he's off this earth, because for me it's about the type of person and the message that's important. Doesn't I'm simplifying it, but it's not. It wouldn't be a problem to me if they found out Jesus was an alien.
Do you think it would be a problem to a lot to religion in
Not so
itself?
much though, because the Pope at the Vatican's now encouraging people to, maybe aliens are not as far fetched as we think. That's what the Pope's. That's the latest from the Vatican, isn't it?
Have you ever looked into the other? So, as somebody who's religious, have you ever looked into the other side of it? That maybe we're all being lied to, and maybe that the thousands and thousands of years of people uh, talking about demons and um, weird things that happen is actually true, and only the last 100 and odd years of us talking about extraterrestrials and aliens is a
It's a
lie.
different time.
Is a
Yeah.
lie.
Then you've got to think about the carvings on the ancient civilizations, the wars with the ancient astronaut theory. They do look very similar, don't they? They do look very convincing.
You mean whatever they're inside?
Yeah, yeah.
But does that mean it's technology?
In what sense?
As in a a technology with nuts and bolts, whatever they use to get to here. Does that?
I
I
don't think
find
it. I don't think that's. I don't think it's technology. I just think it's a different realm, isn't it? It's energy. It's a realm that we're not part of, and I think we get glimpses of it every now and again. And I think that's the experiences that we term as paranormal.
so you think the dimensional?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think these glimpses into the other realms, if they happened thousands of years ago, obviously they happened thousands of years ago. We've been on the planet that long. Why aren't they getting glimpses into the realms? I mean, it's ongoing, isn't it? And these writings and the scribes, the old scholars, maybe they're just scribing those experiences like the one I had, like the glitch. You just don't know. You just don't know. But I think it's dimensional. Yeah, definitely. I feel it can be. How else would you prove ESP, astral travel, if it's not dimensional? I don't get. I don't build a machine to astral travel. I just go. My
Well, you,
kids. Sorry,
no, your kids.
my kids. When my, like every mother worries when their teenagers are out, but I'd normally be able to pitch them quite. Nobody's going to believe me. I really don't care. But I could get to the point where I could see briefly what they were doing or where they were. It wasn't a feeling; I could see it. So I've always been able to place myself somewhere else.
I'd love to be able to do that. Just take
I'll
myself
tell you what I
away
did as an
for the
experiment,
day.
Ollie. Do you know what I told you about the lady in the CE5 who didn't want me on the team? And I know why she didn't want me on the team, because she wanted us all to meditate and everything else. But I told her what I sometimes do, and it sounds really childish and really simple. Just try it. It was last year, and I don't know why I did it. I've done this once before. It's not. I don't sit there going, "No, I'm going to astral travel." It's not like that. I
Oh,
was walking.
we've got your favorite person in the chat.
Oh, oh,
Goof on.
oh, nice one, Rich. Oh, he's brilliant. And I was walking to Morrison's last year because I walk everywhere and I
That's a
ride a bike.
supermarket for anybody in the States.
Yeah. So I'm embarrassed to say this, but I said it and I did it. So and it's a long one. I said, Jen, you go ahead, to myself, right? Or Rosanna, you go ahead. I don't care. I said, you go ahead. So I thought, well, why did I just say that? So I thought, right, I've just said you go ahead. Right. So what am I trying to do? I thought, all right. So when I really get there, even though I've sent myself ahead, I will try to envision now while I'm walking who's going to be in Morrison's when I get through that door, or what will I see? So I saw the fish counter ahead of me, and I saw the usual stuff and I know which one it was. But to the left of the door, I saw somebody in uniform, but like had yellow flowers, and I thought that's odd. So when I go through the door, I'll look to see if there's somebody there in a uniform, but with flowers on it didn't make sense, and the other little bits. And lo and behold, when I walked through the door, when I finally got there was the is it the Mary Rose with the yellow thing that the cadets
Yeah.
sell? It was them selling those. So I saw it as I was walking up. So try it.
I've tried. I've tried to kind of like just get myself in that zone. I just can't seem to do it. Maybe I think it's only certain people that can use that part of the brain.
Do you reckon? I think you've just got to believe in yourself, Ollie. You don't think. You feel. So you don't think about it, you feel it.
I've seen things, but I've never tried. So I think maybe as a kid I did it. I don't know, but I do remember I used to watch TV. What my mum and dad was watching. I think I watched Aliens as a kid when I was in my bed, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah.
So I can remember kind of like, and I'd always go back up the stairs in slow. It was always slow motion. I remember once, or twice, maybe three times. It was probably loads of times. I remember going downstairs.
Was this while you were awake?
No, in bed.
Okay.
But it was like a dream. But I in the dream, I'm watching what my mom and dad are watching on
I
television.
see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Wow.
So but maybe that's because I'd seen because these were on VHS tapes, and sometimes I used to like when my mum would go into the kitchen, she'd like do loads of cooking, or she'd go out in the garden do gardening, and maybe I'd just like put the VHS. I can remember watching American Werewolf in London when I was 8 years old, and I was terrified. And
Really?
my mum walked in when I was watching it. Was halfway through watching it, and she's like, "Wait, no, you can't watch that." and it's like
Really?
the damage had been done. I'd already seen the scenes that affected me.
So what you should have done when you saw yourself going down the stairs watching your parents watching a video, did you not check with them the next day what they were watching?
I can't even remember what age I was.
Ah, I see.
I can remember the house, and I can remember I would, and there was like I had a lot of dreams about being chased by something, but I never knew what it was, and I was
I had that.
always moving back up to my bedroom in slow motion. And there was one time, I know it's your interview, but you asked the question.
Yeah, yeah.
There was one
But
time. There was one time when I woke up, and I think I was poorly with a fever at the time. I woke up and I remember getting out of my bed, and there was little tiny red dots everywhere, all over my room, everywhere,
wow.
like literally little tiny red dots. And one of them hit me in the eye, and that's
So it was real.
that's the last thing I remember. And I don't know if it
Wow.
was real or not. I was very ill. I think I had a fever at the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time.
Wow.
I think I was about 9 years old or 10, and I had a bad fever. But I can remember that it was weird. It was very
Wow.
strange.
Yeah.
But I think I don't think everybody can do what you can do. Take the self out of the body. Yeah, I think, can you be trained to do that? Maybe. I don't think you can just like gain that ability just
Do you
like
know what
that. I think you've got to. I think certain people have a gift.
right.
It's like my mate David that comes on the channel. I think he's got. I call it the shining. He calls it the flashlight from
What?
Stir of Echoes, because
Right.
he sees things. He definitely, and I have conversations with him. And I do think there is a lot of people on this earth that do have a gift, that have some sort of ability, and because we're not all the same, but we're all
No, definitely
very,
not.
very, very strange creatures, very spiritual
Yeah,
creatures.
precisely.
5 Stroke Wonder again with the $3 super
Oh,
chat, and I know what it is. It's I can't tell if it's a pigeon, or if it's half pigeon and half, what are those things that are really good for you, that really fattening? Then vegetable with a big giant stone in the middle. Avocado. Yeah,
avocado, yeah.
I can't tell if it's an avocado. It says fist. Oh, fist bump. Fist bump.
Fist
Fist
bump.
bump. Yeah, it's fist bumping me. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I honestly think that people like yourself have some sort of thing, a thing. I don't know
You
what it
bought.
is.
Yeah, you must have. You've experienced it though, Ali. I know you have. Right. So,
I've
okay.
experienced lots of things, but I won't speak about them on here because I run a show and I'd be very biased to do that.
But you've met people who you get when you get a really bad vibe from. But I mean, yeah. I remember meeting someone. It was an ex-partner many years ago, and when I met him, it was like I'd been hit by a train. But I didn't listen to that feeling, and it wasn't a good experience, I can tell you. So I know now if I ever have that feeling again, to run a mile. Yeah, so that's that. That's your instinct. That's not
Yeah.
that's your instinct.
So have you got daughters?
A daughter and a son.
Do they have anything?
Our daughter's she's psychic, but she's not as open to it as I am. They both, yeah, but they don't. My daughter, I'd say, they both believe in it because it freaks them both out. Well, it used to when they were children because they said they could never get away with doing anything because I always seemed to know what was going on. So yeah, no, no. My daughter is more afraid of it than I am.
So So she's what? Is that is this the same daughter that saw your reaction when she was
Yeah,
about eight to
yeah,
9 years old?
yeah. And she had a lot of bad experiences in that house where we had the poltergeists. It seems to be focused around her a lot of the time because she'd have the big, those awful experiences at night where she thought there was an old man leaning over and a bed would shake. It was awful for her. Yeah.
I had a guest on that lived in a large I think we call them caravans, but it was a big trailer. He grew up in that, and his family. Um, it was only the females as well that
Yeah.
this thing kind of latched onto.
Yeah. It seems to be the way. Teenagers, they seem to be attracted by teenagers. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that experience to anyone. Have you, was it you, Ollie, that recommended Jeff Young?
Jeff Young, yeah,
Oh, yeah. If you,
great guy. I'm gonna get him back on. It's been a while since he's been on. I still speak to him quite
oh, do
often.
you? I've just saw his
Yeah,
latest one that came out. If anybody's interested in the paranormal and ghosts, I think he produces amazing evidence.
yeah. Go check out Ghost Tech Paranormal with Jeff Young.
Yeah.
He's incredible, and there's a lot of episodes on there. This is, I mean, I speak to him quite on a regular basis, and it's like, why don't you monetize your videos? He's like,
Yeah.
well, because I'm not interested in that. I says, but Jeff, as because he works full time, he works long hours.
Does
He
he?
works long hours, yeah. And sometimes I'll ask him to come on, and he can't come on because he's working the next morning at 5 in the morning. I
Right.
said,
Okay.
I said, Jeff, for the amount of views you get, why don't you monetize your channel
Yeah.
or do a Patreon or something like that? He's like, because that will taint it. I'm
It
trying.
would.
Well, I
I,
don't
I,
think it would. I don't think it would. I think he needs to do it, and
his
he should
evidence
do
is
it.
strong. His evidence is strong, but I get what he's saying because if he monetized it and he profited from those videos, people would be more likely to say maybe that he's faking it.
He's worried because there's like I've forgotten the names of his competition, but the ghost, what they call the other ghost hunter channels.
Ghost hunters, yeah, but they're not.
Yeah,
I
ghost
like Jeff Young's.
uh,
It's the best.
most haunted and all that.
That's
He's like,
rubbish.
yeah, he doesn't want to be in association with that. That's his point. I mean, he did a Rendlesham Forest
That was
one
amazing.
as well.
That was interesting, wasn't it? Because you see all the helicopters came, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
While he was there.
Hey, I'm
I
gonna
think
get him and the team are gonna come on, and we're gonna speak about that experience. That was
I think people need to see that Rendlesham one. We need to promote that video. It was interesting.
get a few eyes on that. Yeah, it was good. He said it was scary. He said
Yeah, he was scared, I
they
could
were
tell.
quiet. They thought they were gonna get into a lot of shit.
Wow.
But yeah, there is good people in this paranormal field, and I think, and me and you spoke about, because you've seen Osvaldo Franco on the channel, and
Yeah.
I've asked Osvaldo Franco. I've given Osvaldo the full name of the person that we're trying to
Okay.
you're trying to track down. If
Yeah.
And you know, he may do it, but we've had you might have seen it. We've had many not argument, because I love the guy to pieces, but he can't mix the paranormal with ufology,
No,
and I think that needs to happen. I think that subject it
I
gels
do.
quite well, and I think
I do.
if there are these little green bastards up there, they know
Yeah.
very well what is going on when it comes to the paranormal,
Yeah.
because they'll be quite. And if there's paranormal here on our planet, if they are on a planet, okay, they'd be paranormal on that planet. There would be little alien ghosts
Yeah.
going around,
Yeah.
little alien
Yeah. Yeah.
poltergeists.
Yeah.
And this is why I struggled with the whole religious aspect when it's mixed in with UFOs. And if somebody was to ask me now if I had to choose one side or the other, I would probably lose a lot of subscribers for the chart the side that I choose.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
To what I think it is.
Right. So you're not brave enough to say.
Well, I think I just said it.
Okay.
But I think the people like Stephen Greer, the Lou Alessandros, the TTSAs, I don't think they're touching on what this subject is. I think they're getting lost in the dollar. They are
Yeah, but
I think they're getting lost. I mean, Lou says he's not making any money off it. I don't know if he is or not. I
of
think they
course he is.
get.
Look at the thing he did with Linda Moulton Howard. Or as Rich says, was it Linda Howdy Doody? I think that's funny.
That's because
And
Rich has the hots for her.
I know. And but they all went on that seminar together, didn't they? So that would cost a pretty fortune as well to get onto that virtual platform. Do you remember it? Few months ago.
I didn't watch it.
No, you had
What?
to sign up for it. It was a virtual platform. Luis Elizondo, Stephen Greer wasn't there, Linda Moulton, the whole shebang, all of them were there. And they were giving lectures, but they were online lectures, but you were in some kind of camp effort or something, but you were there virtually. And they were charging you an extra. Rich did it on his show.
Yeah.
A lot of money to attend these seminars online, and they weren't even live.
And this is what destroys the subject.
Yeah.
That when it comes to these exclusive sessions, that only the rich, and this is, I think this was your initial email to message to
Yeah.
me, that why are we excluding,
The vast majority of the population.
And I told you the answer to that, because aliens only visit rich people.
Precisely. And then you can't spread this message of hope and love and spiritual awakening, and then, well, if you've not got it, give me a few $1,000s and I'll teach you how to get it. That's just not how it works. That makes me think that there's nothing spiritual about you whatsoever, and you'll be someone you should mistrust. That's how I feel.
So, since you, when did you stop working for Stephen Greer?
Well, that would have been the end of when I last stopped hearing from Will. So that would have been in 2019.
Did you just have the work stopped, or did you just kind of like, would it, I suppose with the research, you could have carried on working to
I
this
could have
day?
carried on because I was still working on those articles that he'd asked me to research and send over. But like I said, I was no longer able to contact him. So what was the point of doing anything? Because I had nowhere to send the research after that.
So did you send quite a few emails of research to Will, and with no
Everything that
response?
No, I didn't even bother sending it because he's gone. He wasn't
That's what
contactable.
I meant to ask, for anybody that's late to the show. So Rosanna did some work for Stephen Greer, who was employed, but you were employed by Will as a pro bono job, to do research, and you were trying to you were tracking down a who were you tracking down in the UK again? Sorry.
Professor Sykes.
Yes, Professor Sykes. What I want to know is, from your back and forth emails with Will, did it all of a sudden stop, or did you there was a less stuff going back and forth, and how long
No, it is unchanged.
So it was
There was
constant.
constant, yeah. And then just nothing.
You said you developed a friendship as well.
Yeah, we had. I
So
mean, I
this,
clearly knew he was unwell. And this is why I didn't want to mention his surname, because some of the things he said in the emails concerned me. And they did concern me, and I worried about him. Because he was clear that he was in a lot of pain. So when he'd stopped, I thought, well, what's he done? Has he died, or has he done something silly, or does that make sense?
So it
Yeah.
literally, the emails stopped
Yes, sudden.
just all of, and
Yeah.
then nothing. And
Yeah.
then, then you reached out to Emily Greer.
Yeah.
And
Well, I reached out to the Greer team as a whole, and nothing. Just disregarded my inquiries. Don't worry, but Dr. Greer's fine. I'll find that email for you and forward it to you.
you forward me one from Emily.
Emily, yeah, I forwarded that one. And Emily was just as she was just as uninterested, wasn't she?
So do you think they well, I would have thought if all of a sudden it stopped like that, they must know.
Yes, because in Emily's last email, it clearly says that Stephen Greer and Will spoke to each other, and they disagreed on some things and agreed on others. So it gives to me that he just didn't just talk to Emily. He spoke to Stephen Greer as well. And don't forget, he was an eminent lawyer. He's not some, he's going to command some respect from these people.
Why did he work pro bono for Stephen as well?
I can't answer that one, Ollie. I have no idea. Maybe that's the way. Maybe that's the way he likes.
Did he? Your back and forth message. Had he had experiences with the paranormal himself? Was he interested in the subject like you were?
Very interested in the subject. He would ask. It's funny. He didn't give much away about his own paranormal experiences, but he liked to hear mine. So he'd ask me questions about my experiences. He appeared to be very interested in all of the subjects: UFOs, paranormal, ghosts. It's much the same as that we're speaking about now. That's where his questions were, related to. But a super nice guy, super nice man.
I'm going to pop the email up again. So, Will, if you are watching this, email me so I can forward your details on to Rosanna, because she's worried, even if it's just to say I'm all right. And I mean, some people do go off the radar. Some people just kind of have enough of humans.
Right.
I've done that before.
Have you?
For a month or two? Yeah, but
Really?
how long has this been?
It's a year now. Over a year now. Yeah, so well over a year. I emailed him last year, and nothing. That was the last time I emailed him. I put it in black capitals. Well, please, if you're okay, just let me know. You don't need to write to me or anything. Just respond and let me know you're okay. That was it.
I think somebody in the chat earlier, I saw something pop up like, what's the motive here? You haven't got a motive, and you're not accusing
No,
Stephen Greer of anything.
not at all.
You're just like, literally, you're kind of a little bit disgusted that he did a lot of work for them and it was pro bono. The least that they could do is kind of
See if
chase
he's
him down
okay.
for you, see if the guy's okay, get back to you. I get it.
Precisely. That's all it is. No other motive.
Yeah, it's there needs to be more of that in the world, a bit more humanity, especially, it would go a long way as well, with the people that are up, that are a bit bigger than us, Stephen's a big guy.
He is.
Yeah, but the people that they're up there, they've got a voice. It would go a long way to show a little bit of humanity.
It would. And humility,
Yeah.
definitely.
Do you mentioned with the subject that you've been a subscriber for a quite long time of myself. So
Yeah.
what do you look for when you're looking at this subject? What are you trying to gain for yourself?
I'm not trying to gain anything from it. I'm
No,
not
I
trying
don't. Sorry, I word that wrong. I don't
to
mean gain. I don't mean gain for yourself.
from it. From it.
Yeah. What when you're researching this subject for you? What are you trying to get out of it?
It's
What is
just it's
what
interesting.
what as creators, when we're doing this type of subject and interviewing people, what is it we need to do for people like yourself that are seems frustrated with the subject at times, because what can we do?
I, there's no. I don't think you should do anything different. I think you because, like I said, you just want to hear people's
That's not me.
experiences.
That's not me. I do everything perfect. I'm on about everybody else.
Um, I mean, the shows I follow are the ones that I think everyone's doing a great job. Everyone's trying to get the message out. Nobody's. I think that people like Goof, and I particularly like Third Phase. I particularly like yourself. Those are the three main ones, and then the paranormal ones. I will watch Jeff Young. Um, I used to watch Ghost Adventures. I don't watch those anymore. It's gone too theatrical.
Too zany.
Yeah, yeah. So nothing. I'm just interested in it, and you only get involved in something that you're interested in, don't you? You're not going to watch something that bores you stiff. If you're not interested, it's going to be boring.
Do you see many lights in the sky? Actually, I mean, I'm talking without actually
No,
astral projection. You don't see
no,
any UFOs.
no, no.
On.
Um,
That's disappointing.
yeah,
I'm joking.
but
No.
I've had experiences where I can't tell. I mean, it's obviously a dream, like Rich Giordano was saying. He has very vivid dreams of UFOs, and he's convinced. It does not convince that they're absolute. I've had those sorts of things, but nothing whilst I've been awake. But I'm sure they're dreams,
You see, so you've never,
but very vivid.
so you never see them. You never see them while you're awake, but you see UFOs in your dreams. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, you mentioned. I think it was. I don't know if you spoke about it during this interview, or I think it was before. You said, "Don't worry, I'm not
A wacko.
Angeli.
Oh,
I'm not."
Angela. Yeah, yeah.
What do you
No,
make of her? You think it's just all going to wither away?
she just seems crazy, doesn't she? I don't know. I mean, wouldn't it be great if she was telling the truth and that did exist? But I just don't get it. I just do not get why that woman has sat herself there, open to the world, made these crazy, crazy claims. But there has to be a plan. Why would she do that? And I don't just think it's the money that she's going to write a book. There's something's not right about the whole thing.
Do you think it's something a bit up high?
This is like a diversional. I just do not know. I've never seen anything like it ever. She's unique, don't you think? Mind you, she's
Yeah.
not that. And she's unique to come out to the public to say that she's. I mean, you've got your David Wilcox and your Corey Good and all of that. They're a bit crazy, but
Well, speaking of Wilcock, a very young Wilcock was in the documentary that you was researching for. He
yeah,
was in that documentary.
yeah, yeah,
I didn't realize that until I watched it
yeah,
again tonight. But yeah, she's. I like I said, I said to you, I've emailed her. I've invited her on the show. She probably won't want to come on. I wouldn't blame her, but I think if you've got nothing to hide, you would go on every you just go on them. You just go.
Precisely.
You know what? You'll see. You'll
Yeah.
see. You'll see when I'm shaking hands with the purple alien.
Has she got family, I wonder?
I think she's got family.
Right. I just don't understand why she's done it.
It's odd. It's
It
it's it's
is.
really odd. It's like, and for me, after everything that's happened, when it well, everything that's happened over the last few years, but everything that's happened with ufology over the last couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever. It's all been building up, and then, but there was a big ramp up when it came to the actual uh the piece that was going to come out, the documents that were going to come out, and then
Yeah.
and then we've got the Anjali, you know.
I've just had a thought though. Right, Stephen Greer is, you've got your Louis Alexander and the government. It's a threat. It's a threat. Stephen Greer is warning that they're going to have a false flag invasion, isn't he? Now, if that happens, that would fall right into Anjali's story, wouldn't it? Because she's claiming, because these people are believing, if there's a false flag invasion from the government saying there's aliens here and they are a threat and they're coming, and then you've got Anjali saying, oh, well, I've already met them. They're in this. People would believe her and the government. Is she just there as a preempt? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, no, it does. It does. I just, I mean, I said to my wife, and I said this to my wife, I think a year ago. I said, listen, if we ever, because I think I got a little bit tipsy, and I was a little bit emotional, and I said, listen, babe, if you ever turn the TV on, or you're looking outside and there's big lights in the sky, and then there's loads of news articles saying that the aliens are shooting people,
Yeah,
please take it with a pinch of salt.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Don't believe it,
Yeah,
because they're lying to you.
precise. But Gear's predicted that, though, hasn't he, for years? He's been right on that one.
But this is the thing, though. All the alien people, when aliens are on television, the alien people, the people on the alien channels, the good alien channels, the goof-ons, the
Yeah,
alien addicts, the third phase of Moon, now they've changed
yeah.
their ways. They won't believe it.
No.
They won't believe it. They will not believe it. They will look at it and they'll go, "This is horseshit.
Yeah,
We're
they
being
will.
lied to."
Precisely. Precisely.
But I would never believe that aliens would be hostile. Not in that way. I believe they would be hostile, but not in that way. If they wanted to take us out, they'd just do it.
Many,
You
many,
know,
many, many
we wouldn't
eons
even
ago.
know. We wouldn't even know about
Be
it.
a
We'd be just
flash, wouldn't they?
no. It would be. They would just probably just send some sort of I don't say the word. They said something that would give us the sniffles, and we'd all just die.
Absolutely. I know. Yeah. So it's interesting, definitely interesting.
But I don't think any of that's going on. I think it's something completely different. And I totally agreed with Stephen when he put his his video out a few months ago, say about it not being a threat, and we
Yeah,
should be stopping
that
this.
was good.
I thought that was quite nice,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
a good message, very positive.
Yeah.
I just don't ever trust the guy.
This is what I was saying. I like the message and I believe it, but why do we believe it? Because he's not been in contact with aliens, but he says he has. But that's the bit I'm a bit dodgy with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So you don't think? I don't know if I've got it on here. You don't think any of this is?
You know, I once went to a spiritist church many years ago. There's a type of paranormal photography that you can do, and you can take a picture.
I've heard of this.
Yes, the spiritist churches use it. It looks just like that.
I don't
It
know
does,
what that
honestly.
I don't know what that blob looks like
I
on the
don't mean it. I don't mean that figure in the middle. I mean you get those same
that's the best
effects.
one.
Yeah,
That's the best one.
yeah.
That that plant life form is the best one. I have
It's
no idea, and I like the angel looking one, but
yeah.
that one, I think it's on my left. I don't know if it's on your right.
What is it?
I have no idea what it is. It looks like some sort of sexually transmitted disease. It looks like somebody's put the camera down their underpants that's got some sort of
Oh,
something wrong
funny.
with them. I have
Yeah,
no idea. I have no idea what that is.
but
I mean,
that type of image can be created. They do it in spiritualist churches. I've seen it. You
yeah,
can take a picture and you'll see a person's head there and with perfect features and everything. So yeah, you'd have to be there though. I mean, and they must be using Polaroid cameras, mustn't they? And flipping them back instantly. So
yeah.
I guess you can't fill with those.
It's always like a little. Oh, we found this little. If you zoom in here, there is this alien, and it's in the background observing. Or there's
Yeah,
this triangle in the sky. And but when we went to the next frame, it had moved. You know,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
always that, but there's never.
Nothing, not a constant.
But
No.
but I have to say, and again to go back at it for the project that you was working on for Stephen Greer, I did find this very intriguing, and the fact that Gary Nolan went to TTSA, and only when he went to TTSA did it get debunked as a fetus.
The thing is, though, they've found them all over the show, haven't they? They've found them in Russia, Brazil.
They have, but not like that.
Yeah, well,
Not like that one.
not as small as it.
No, well, not as intact and kind of alien looking as that one. That I mean, it does. I mean, I have no idea what a skeleton of. Well, I have because I have actually done. I did it when I did a video about this. I
Hmm.
looked at skeleton fetuses, and
Yeah.
I just can't imagine all the bones and everything. I can't see a situation where this thing would dry up like that and be like
I mean,
that.
I know they reconstructed the heads when they were alive, didn't they? Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and that's not unusual to have a skull that deformity on that skull through binding and so forth.
Yeah.
But not for a fetus.
Well, you wouldn't bind a
No, you
child's head
can't.
at that
No,
age because it's soft.
absolutely not.
It's a child. The bones are soft,
Yeah, it was crazy. So I don't know.
and that small. It was tiny. It was.
Yeah.
But I would like to speak to Gary Nolan. He probably won't come on a show like this because it's not scientific enough. It's not
Yeah.
scientific at all. But I'd like to speak to him and just say what actually went down, because all of a sudden you're intrigued by this thing, but then something happens and you go and work for TTSA.
Yeah.
And then that is only then when you tell us that this thing isn't alien and it is just a deformed fetus with so many
64
anomalies.
mutations. Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
Wow. Yep.
So
Interesting.
I think there was something interesting. A lot of people. I mean, Osvaldo Franco. He's in the credits of that film, and he was disappointed. Really disappointed.
He was part of the crowdfunding, wasn't he? What was he?
Yeah, I think he put quite a bit of money in it as well. But
he doesn't like Dr. Greer, does he?
No, he hates him.
Yeah.
But he said that Dr. Greer was nasty to him at some point. So.
And said he was cold.
Yeah, very cold. I don't know, Stephen, if you're watching this, We need to see a bit of humanity from you. We do. And can you please look into the whereabouts of Will and get back to Rosanna? She has
Thank
emailed
you,
you.
Ollie. Thank you.
Or email me. If you email me, I will ask you to come on the show. Of course, it's in my nature. Yeah, the subject of ufology and religion is something that has interested me for a long while now. Probably for half of my, I'm not going to say my life, half of my, what do you call it? That with YouTube, half of since I've been up for half
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
When I started out, it was all looking at NASA footage, all looking at UFOs. I'll be honest with you. Traipsing the internet for UFOs now bores me.
Because you don't see anything new, do you?
Looking for a good story or a good experience, personal experiences that people have with the paranormal, UFOs, whatever, that's what spikes my interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that some of these big people, they need to, they need to start looking into it, because we're forgetting about thousands and thousands and thousands of years of people talking about
Yeah,
the subjects of paranormal.
precisely. And now it's being monetized. Yeah. But if anybody wants to see good shadow people and evidence of them, like I said before, Jeff Young's your guy. You need to watch his channel, and that's perfect. That's brilliant, honestly.
Well, Third Phase have just popped into the chat, and they've got Greer on their new documentary. Third Phase, maybe you could ask
Yeah,
Stephen to get back to Rosanna, who has emailed them about Will's whereabouts and his health and if he's
yeah,
okay. Probably don't have a clue what I'm talking about because I think they just popped in.
yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks, Ollie.
no, you're very welcome. I want to thank you for coming on the show. You're very
Thanks
welcome
very much.
to come on again. It'd be nice to get you on with a paranormal panel.
Okay. Yeah.
'Cause I think your story seems to be more your personal story. Forget you were doing a pro
Yes.
bono for Stephen Greer. Your personal story is very, it's interesting. Your life, the messages back and forth with you. I get a feeling for people that have had these experiences, and I get
Okay.
it's a good thing. And you tonight are very nervous. You told me you're very nervous.
Yeah.
You're very nervous for a reason, because you said your story's so bizarre, and you're scared that people won't believe
Yeah.
you. Well, I'll tell you now, they're on the wrong channel.
Yeah.
They're on the wrong channel if they don't want to hear these stories, because these stories will come from human beings that had
Absolutely.
strange situations happen in their life.
Yeah. That's true. Thank you, Ollie.
And there's millions and millions of people that have had these strange experiences, but very few people dare to speak about them. But
We need
I
a
hope
forum.
we do need a forum. I am gonna do. I keep saying it. Somebody's gonna kill me for this. But I do have a Patreon page, people, and at some point I am gonna get a Discord for like a chat thing going on.
Okay.
And I would like to get people in the chat, maybe not just for patrons, just people that I trust.
Yeah.
I promise the patrons I'd do it. I'd get the Discord going, where I get people to discuss their paranormal experiences and talk about the
Sure.
subject on an open platform. It's just I can't manage it, I I can't manage a Patreon page and a YouTube channel and go to
Yeah,
work at
no.
the same time. So I have to
No.
have people I have to have like mods to do it for me and what have you. I've
Yeah.
got some great mods on the chat and great
Good.
people. But thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome.
Rosanna. I'm going to drop you down below.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
speak to you after the show for a few minutes if you don't mind before I go to bed.
Okay, Ollie. No problem. Thank you.
And for last but not least, for anybody who is watching the show now that might know who Rosanna is, who doesn't want to reveal a real name, and we don't. Will, if you're watching this, email me just so I can forward your details onto Rosanna, even if you just say you're okay. Okay.
Thank you, Ollie.
Thank you, my friend.
Take care.
You're very welcome. I will take care. You take care. I'll speak to you in a minute.
Okay. All right.
Ladies and gents, thank you so much for everybody in the chat tonight. Great people. I've had a good time. I've got a little bit of a rasp here. Something's going on my throat. I think I might be allergic to that beer. I don't know. But I want you to get the word out. The Alien Addict needs more people with more experiences. My email address is alienaddictuk@gmail.com because somebody was very selfish and took Alien Addict. So email me if you've had an experience. I don't want you to email me, I've seen a UFO and send me a dot in the sky. I'm not interested in that. To be quite frank, I get quite a few of those, and as much as some of them are interesting, I am somebody who likes to speak to the people, and I want to know your experiences, whether it's paranormal, whether it's paranormal, ghost, similar thing. I think it's the same thing. UFOs, if you've been abducted, if they've shoved things up your bottom, whatever they've done to you, I want to know it. But in the meantime, people, go check out my new t-shirt design. Boom. Yes. That is 115. That's written on the back, by the way, people. That's the front. The front of the t-shirt is the element itself. It's what's the word I'm looking for? I've forgotten the word again. It's atomic structure of element 115. With 115, I can fly. The link is in the chat. I'm quite pleased with that. It's been a long time since I've had a new design. That is the new design. 115, I can fly. Good night, God bless, people. Mind the bugs don't bite. Hit that thumb up, and if you haven't already hit the little bell end in the corner, just go hit it, give it a little tickle. Good night. Love you all very much. I'll end the chat now.